Hey everybody, welcome back to the warbossfitz channel. Do you like ghouls? Do you like zombies? Do you like vampires or skeletons? Well, good, because today we're talking about the Vampiric Undead. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor. Fleet Admirals, Generals, your reinforcements have arrived. At PrintedStarships.com, you will find high-quality 3D printed starships and sci-fi armies ready for deployment. Whether you're commanding fleets in Star Wars or Armada, dogfighting in X-Wing, battling in one-page rules war fleets, or leading ground forces in grimdark future, we've got the precision-crafted models you need to seize victory. Use code warbossfitz for 15% off your order. That's PrintedStarships.com. Prepare to take command of the tabletop. So, Vampiric Undead, one of the mainstays of any fantasy gaming. We got them in Age of Fantasy here in OPR. So, when you get to the splash page, first thing you're going to see is the Vampiric Undead and the Create New List button. And then you have the pictures here where you can see all of the lovely models that OPR has made for the army, and a way you can get access to those through the STL store or the physical mini store. And then we got the background. We don't really jump into the background. That's for somebody else to do. Let's check out the special rules. Army-wide special rule is Cursed Undead. When a unit or all models have this rule, takes a wound. Roll 1 die for each, and on a 6+, it is ignored. So yes, in 3.5, the undead rule is gone. But there are ways you could put that back in with some heroes with the no retreat aura, but you're not going to be able to get that on everybody. But everyone does get an extra 6-up save, and you can combine that down here with resistance, which is another 6-up save, or a 2 if it's a spell. So you can do, an armor save, and then a 6-up, and then a 6-up, or 2 if it's a spell. So a little bit more resilience than you had before. Now, what do we have that is specific to this army? We have the Cursed Undead boost, which gives you a 5 for a save instead of a 6 on your Cursed Undead rule. Then we have Mind Control. This one is interesting. Once per activation, before attacking, pick one enemy with an 18, which must take a morale test. If you failed, you may move it up to 6 inches in a straight line in any direction. So you could use that to move them closer to you or move troops off an objective. Some pretty interesting things can be done with that. And then another special rule for the army is a weapon special rule, and that is Sever. Against a unit where most models have defense 2 to defense 4, this weapon gets AP +1. So that will be a way to take out some tougher opponents, and these are not point intensive in the slightest. So if you're not sure who you're going up against, Sever is a good option. Then we have the Aura special rules. These are rules that you can put on a hero to give to the rest of the squad. We have the Fast Aura, which just gives the hero and its unit fast. The No Retreat Aura, this is the new Undead. This is how you can get it. Piercing Hunter Aura, giving you +1 AP when shooting stuff over 9 inches away. Reanimation Aura to give you and your squad reanimation. Scout Aura to give the hero and the models in his unit scout. Shred in melee to give everybody shred. And Stealth Aura to give everybody stealth. So for the Aura special rules, we have some good options here. The Reanimation Aura is amazing, depending on what unit you put it on. Reanimation is, at the beginning of a turn, or whenever the unit activates, roll as many dice as wounds that you've lost in the squad, and on a 5-up, those wounds come back. And yes, that means that you can bring models back from the dead. They do have a coherency clause in there to make sure that you can't conga line stuff when it comes back, but just bringing models back is just great. And then I love seeing a fast aura, because some of your squads, just putting that on there makes them so much more, it just gives them so much more utility on what they can do. So let's look at the spells. Vigorous Return gives a friendly unit a Cursed Undead buff. Cursed Strike, one enemy within 6, it takes 3 hits with Sever. That's the one if they're higher defense. Does a little bit more AP to them. Seductive Invocation. This is like the Mind Control, except it's 2 enemy units within 18. Spectral Wind, 1 enemy within 12, takes 4 hits, AP2. This is, a pretty stock standard power 2 attack spell. Dance of Death, pick up to 3 friendly units within 12 to get Teleport. So the next time they activate, they can get a free 6-inch move, ignoring difficult, dangerous, ignoring everything. And sometimes that little bit extra movement is what wins you the game. So this is a really good power 3 spell. And then your attack power 3 spell. 1 enemy within 6 takes 3 hits with AP2 and Deadly 3. That's a pretty good 3 power spell, just to be able to smack something big. Or an elite squad, like an elite squad or a giant or a chariot or something. That's pretty good for a power 3. Now let's go ahead and get into the units. Looking at the heroes first, we have the Werewolf Champion. It's a 3/4. Cursed Undead hero, Scout, Strider, and Toughness 6. So with Scout, it starts up 12 inches away from your deployment zone. And it is rocking 2 Razor Blades, 3 attacks apiece with Reliable, so all of its attacks hit on a 2. Now it's got a couple of the auras here. We got Stealth, Cursed Undead Boost, Shred, and No Retreat. And you can replace those Razor Blades with Heavy Rending Claws for 6 attacks, AP1 with Rending, which I really like Rending in 3.5 to get rid of regeneration, because regeneration is, there's a lot of places you can get it now. Or a Great Sword and Razor Blade, so you keep 3 attacks reliable, but then you get 3 attacks AP4. So overall, I think this guy on his own can be a pretty good hero. Even with those Razor Blades, 6 attacks hitting on a 2, this is Age of Fantasy, not Grimdark Future, so you're going to see a lot less defense on enemy troops. So just being able to get more hits out there that stick is going to be really good for you. But if you want to give him an aura to run around on his own, I would give him the Cursed Undead Boost aura to give him a quasi regeneration that you can't get rid of with anti-regen weapons. And then we'll see what he can do inside of a squad a little bit later. Next, we have the Vampire Master. This thing, oh, the rules on the vampires. So the Vampire, the 3/3, Cursed Undead Furious Hero, and Toughness 3. Comes with a heavy hand weapon for 3 attacks, AP1. And then the buffs. Stealth Aura, Cursed Undead Boost, Scout Aura, Shredded Melee, Caster 2, No Retreat, and Caster 3. If you want somebody who has access to all the buffs, this is it. And you can replace a heavy hand weapon with a heavy spear, heavy halberd, dual heavy hand weapon, heavy lance, or a heavy great weapon, doing all kinds of different stuff. Usually I like to synergize them with the squads that they're going to be in. You can do a repel ambushers with a hunting pet, pushing anyone who has ambush outside of 12 inches. And they did change this. In 3.4, it was just the model that was carrying this thing. Now it counts everybody in the squad. And with 9-inch coherency plus the 12-inch pushback, 1 or 2 of these on the board can cut off a lot of tabletop from the enemy ambushers. Just make it to where they're not even allowed to sit there. Next, we have the mounts. So Steed, Winged Terror. These are all things you could be on and still be in a squad. So if we have a squad we want to put them in, we'll talk about them there. But let's talk about the big stuff. First, we got the Zombie Dragon. 6 attacks AP1, 4 attacks AP1, breath attack, fear of 2, flying regeneration, and 12 more toughness, making it tough 15. Now, what this Zombie Dragon does is it just gives the Vampire Master regeneration along with those 12 extra wounds, putting it 15, with a whole lot more combat potential. Fear of 2, you're going to be winning combat with this thing most of the time anyways. And breath attack, it's like a 2-up shooting attack that you can do even when you charge somebody. It's a blast 3 AP1. So, like if you charge into one unit, you can breath attack something else. Really nice. Skeleton Dragon, 6 attacks AP1, 6 attacks with Bane, 6 attacks AP2 with Stomp. So we got a whole lot more attacks with this. Fear of 3, flying, and tough plus 18, putting this thing at 21 wounds. If you want a combat beatdown master, it is definitely the Skeleton Dragon. And then we have a Stitched Zombie Horde, which is 18 attacks, AP nothing, with Zombie Claws, Fear of 3, Fearless, Regeneration, and that also puts you at the 21 toughness. Now, 18 extra attacks from the Zombie Claws, if they were on zombies, that's not that much, but here, you put that on him, it is 18 attacks hitting on a 3. And like I said before, there's not as much defense in Age of Fantasy, so this thing could just be mowing through large squads of enemies, just ripping stuff apart. And then all the way down here at the bottom, we have a Twisted Seduction option to give it mind control. So if I was going to get this one out for combat on its own, there's a couple of different ways we could do it with a couple different trade-offs. Let's start with the Zombie Dragon. So the big thing with like high-pointed heroes like this is that it's a whole lot of points in one model that can usually only attack one thing, but we have options here. We have the Breath Attack, which gives us the option to attack a second target, and then we can go all out with Caster 3 to put stuff on it like Deadly Gaze, Spectral Wind, or even just Cursed Strike to affect a third one in the same turn. So if you want to like a multifaceted vampire master, I would go with the Zombie Dragon. If you just want a beat stick, Skeleton Dragon's the way to go. Skeleton Dragon with a heavy great weapon. And then we could do like shredded melee, no retreat. There's really no reason to put it on there because it already has fear of 3 from the Skeleton Dragon on top of, look at all these attacks. It's going to win combat unless it's like an enemy Titan. And at that point, you're in for a stand-up fight anyways. I would keep the caster on it because, just having the option of doing like the double mind control on a power 2. Scout aura, you're not going to need it. Stealth aura, maybe the enemy's brought a whole bunch of firepower that you don't want to get shot at you because you're still defense 3. This one does not have regeneration though. It'd be real cool if you could put reanimation on this, if that was an option, definitely. So let's look at the next option we have here, the Stitched Zombie Horde. And for this, we're going to go mass as many attacks as we can. This is where I would put shredded melee on it, because what you're doing here is you're just looking for numbers. This is 18, 22 attacks. It's got furious, so if you charge, it might be more. And if the enemy is rolling a 1, it's an extra wound through. If you got good dice and they got bad dice, you can shred lots of stuff. So yeah, we'll talk about this Vampire Master. We'll see what kind of units it goes into later. Next, we have the Skeleton Champion. It's a 4/4 with Cursed Undead Hero and Toughness 3. Comes with 3 attacks with Sever. Now, a lot of the Skeleton units start with Sever on their base weapons. So what do we got for upgrades? We got Stealth, Scout, Fear 3, Shred and Melee, No Retreat, and Piercing Hunter, giving out the +1 AP when they shoot. And then for weapons, we got a Halberd, Spear, Lance, dual hand weapon, and a greatsword. They all have Sever on them. We can give it a crossbow for 2 shots, 24, Rending, and Sever, along with a Skeletal Steed or an Abyssal Beast. Abyssal Beast is the one where it's going to be on its own because that's going to push it up to Toughness 9. So let's go ahead and put that on there. 165 is where we're at. Armor 3+, Fear of 1, Toughness 9, with 6 extra attacks, AP 1. So with this, I kind of have a few ideas here. Cursed Greatsword would be cool because if it's something that's between a 2 and a 4, it becomes AP 3 for 3 more attacks. A Lance, if you're going to be doing a lot of your charging, like if you think you're going to be doing a lot of charging with this thing as opposed to like a defensive type enemy, you've got Striders so you can move through terrain and stuff to get there. You'll be hitting on a 3. Thrust gives it AP 1, Sever will give it AP 2. Or you can go for a Halberd for Rending to get some Ignore Regeneration going on there. And potentially AP 4. So if it was on its own, I'd be putting on the Greatsword. Fear of 1, Toughness 9, Armor 3. Again, I don't think No Retreat is needed, because you're probably going to be winning your combats unless like something charges you when you're fatigued. I feel like Scout would be good on this one. So for 195, you get a Scouting Strider, Defense 3, Toughness 9, Beat Stick. And in 2,000 points that I normally play as, you can have 5 heroes. I think it might be worth it to double this up and take 2 of these, just as like a 1-2 shock attack on turn 1. Interesting. Next, we have a Ghoul Champion. It's a 4/6. Cursed Undead Hero, starts with a regeneration, Strider, and Toughness 3. And these guys have a whole lot of Bane attacks. 3 attacks with Bane. And Bane is nice because it automatically removes regeneration, and the enemy has to reroll 6s. So we got Stealth, Caster 1, Cursed Undead, Shred, and Piercing Hunter Aura. We can give it a Lance or a Great Weapon. Upgrade it with a Sling for some ranged attack. And then we have some options here. We can give it just wings on its own to give it ambush and flying. A Winged Beast to give it ambush, impact 2, and toughness 3. A Winged Beast to give it flying, impact 2, and toughness 3. Make it a little bit tougher. A Bat Beast, Deadly Fang for 6 attacks with Shred. Ambush, armor of 3. Fear of 1. Flying, Furious, and 6 more toughness. Or a Bat Dragon. 4 attacks AP 1, 8 attacks with Shred, 3 plus armor, Fear of 2, Flying Furious, and toughness 12. Alright, so both of these down here, the Bat Beast and the Bat Dragon, if you take those, you got to be on your own. Let's look at the Bat Beast. You've got ambush on there, so I do a Lance. And here we go. We're 265, 9 toughness. Deadly Fang comes with Shred. So if they roll a 1 to block, it counts as an extra wound. I ran an all-bat army in the last edition in 3.4, and they had something similar. I don't remember if it was called Shred, but I feel like it was something similar they had. And the enemy really normally didn't roll a 1, so it didn't come up that much. So with this, Shred in melee is kind of a lost cause because it will only work on your lance there. Piercing Hunter, you don't have any ranged weapons, so you're really looking at these 3 here. Caster 1, if you ambush, you come in with 2 points, and with 2 points, maybe for a seductive invocation to move stuff around, but next turn you'd only have 1 point left over. I wouldn't worry about that. Stealth Aura, you're going to be up in the enemy's face. And again, I wouldn't worry about that. The only one that really makes sense is the Cursed Undead boost, to give it a 5-up, non-removable like regeneration roll. This one already has regeneration 2, so you're looking at an armor 3. So you're looking at a 3-5-5 for your armor save. So these guys are tanky if you put on the Undead boost buff. And then let's go down here to the Bat Dragon. We have the same tankiness, toughness 15 now, more shred attacks, and then we get some stomps on top of it. It'd be really cool if the Bat Dragon got a breath attack, but it does not. So we already have shred stuff, piercing aura. Yeah, again, the only thing that really makes sense is the Cursed Undead for a 3-5-5. Again, but here we go. 440 points for this. It flies. It's furious. A little bit on the pricier side I would want to do for a quality 4. It's got furious. This one, I feel like this is kind of like a middle of the road. Like, this is a good option. But there might be better. There might be better. But there might not be. You might really like tanky ghouls. Alright, next unit, or last hero, is the Drained Leader. It is a 5-5 with Cursed Undead hero and toughness 3 with 3 attacks with a hand weapon. This guy starts at 25. He is cheap. But for the cheap, this is where you can get that reanimation aura. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and start with that on there. So he's 55 points to bring stuff back from the dead. The weapon options are a spear, dual-handed weapon, halberd, or a great weapon. Nothing special with these. He can take a bow for 2 shots at 24. He can be a zombie leader to give him fearless. And the reason why he could take fearless is because the zombies themselves are fearless. So if he was in the squad without this, the zombies lose fearless because now all models in the squad has to have it. And he can also take a pet ghoul for repel ambushers. So this guy, 55 points. Keep him cheap. This is the way to take him. He hits on a 5, so I wouldn't even worry about weapon options. I mean, they're only 5 points. But if I was looking to cut points, it would be on this guy first. 55 points for reanimation to bring stuff back. This guy is perfect to fit in anything. The bigger the squad, the better. So let's look at our first unit here, which is Drained Soldier. 75 points for 10 of them, 5-5 with Cursed Undead and 1 attack apiece. These are basics. You can do a halberd or a spear for rending or counter, and then you can do a sergeant banner musician. So let's talk about these updates here, these upgrades here. This is your command upgrades. You do sergeant, meaning one guy in the squad. Whenever this one model rolls a 6, he gets an extra hit. So it's like one model with a ferocious. A banner, which gives the squad +1 morale, and a musician, which gives them +1 inch of movement. And you're going to see this on a lot of the squads in Age of Fantasy. So whenever you see that, that's what they do. 75 points for 10 of them. So what I would do with this squad is I would turn them into like a hedgehog speed bump. And by that, I mean take the spears, so that they're now 95 points, and combine them for 190. Now you have 20 guys that attack first whenever they are charged. They're only hitting out of 5, but knowing that you're going to have 20 tags into them before they get to attack, that actually stops a lot of people in their tracks from charging, or at least modifies the enemy's game plan. And a lot of stuff in OPR games, if you can like get into your enemy's head, get them to change up what their plans are, you can do a lot of good there. That's going to help you out a lot. Now you could do a drained leader with reanimation, and then just give him a spear just because. If you put him in that squad, they become 250 points for 21 models that, even if you kill a lot of them, which you're going to kill a lot of them because they're only defense 5, depending on your dice rolls at the beginning of the turn, they might just come back. 250 points, it's a little pricey. It might be worth it to just have one of these on the board. Just like, again, area denial. And with that in mind, you might want to put on repel ambushers just to give you even more area denial. I mean, it's not a fun squad. It's designed to do one thing. You know it, the enemy knows it. Just a question whether or not they decided to plan around that. Next unit is near and dear to my heart. 10 stitched zombies for 95 points. Quality 5, defense 6, cursed, undead, fearless, and slow. And you get 2 attacks apiece with those. No AP. They don't need it. You can have a sergeant or a banner or a musician zombie. I guess maybe a banner to give them, quality 4 for whenever they take a morale test, because these guys are going to take morale tests. They just are. They are slow, so a musician, yeah. Have a zombie tooting a horn or something. This is the upgrade that is rather interesting. The Rising Dead to give them Infiltrate. Infiltrate means they can ambush, but they can pop up 1 inch away from the enemy. Now, I've played a lot of zombies in Age of Fantasy. Last edition, you could spawn a lot of zombies. This edition, you can still spawn them with some of the units later on, but you can't spawn as many as you could before. So, Infiltrate. This is a pain in the butt because this unit is so cheap and so many attacks compared to points value. Like, say, if you take a combined unit, you wait till turn 2, and even if the enemy thinks that they're guarding an objective or something, you just pop up with 20 zombies. Like, okay, you've got 3 more turns to kill all these zombies. Otherwise, I'm at least going to contest your objective. With the banner, and they all have fearless, it makes it like a 75% chance to pass a morale test. 245 points. Well, I'd take the musician off. You're not going to need it if you infiltrate. 235 points. I mean, that's a good, just again, another utility, but this is more of a dirty trick utility. Now you could do a drained leader with those. Put them on there, take off the infiltrate, give them a musician to go a little faster. Drained leader goes to reanimation aura, give him zombie leader, and then do dual hand weapons. Here we go, 270 points for 20 zombies and a drained leader that can just come back later. This is a stock standard zombie squad. If you want to march them across the board, if you're doing a zombie army, you just want numbers, just take. There you go, 810 points. You start with 60 models that will come back from the dead. This is where you would start. All right, next we have the Skeleton Guard. Skeletons are 115 points for 10 of them. They are a 4/4 with cursed undead, and they start with 1 attack apiece with Sever. And again, down here with their weapon options, they all get Sever. So it's a question, do you want Rending, Counter, or AP2 with a Cursed Mace? Now here, this could be AP3 against the tougher stuff. That's a pretty good investment there. And then you have Sergeant Banners and Musicians. So, yeah, I mean, this is Age of Fantasy. This is a 4/4. This is going to be like your mid-range infantry. For these guys, I would not put a spear on them just because you're going to be wanting to do the charging with this. And for 25 points on top of a 115, I want something more interesting than that. So let's take a skeleton champion just to just to give us, unit copacetic here. You can do no retreat aura, giving them old classic undead. Give him a cursed great sword, skeleton guard. Let's say if you want to be a real beat stick, that's where I would do the cursed mace. Then you combine the units, so now you have a no retreating 21-man squad that is going to be hitting an AP3 on larger tough targets. That's a lot of damage. Or you could go again, drained leader. I'll stop talking about this after this one because the drained leader goes good with everybody. Drained leader with a reanimation aura. Keep these guys. You can either keep them as a beat stick or you can just go basic here. At that point, it's 285 for 20 skeleton guard. That again, can just get right back up. They have a 4-up save, and then a 6-up save, and then a 5-up to get up. So yeah, I'll stop talking about it, but that's just something to keep in your mind that every one of these squads we talk about until we get to like vehicles and single model entities, we can bring them back from the dead. Next, we got ghouls. 65 points for 5 of them. They're a 4/6. They come with cursed undead and regeneration. So to start off, and Strider. So they're little sneaky buggers, and they start off with a 6/6/5 or a 6/5/6. I don't know if there's an order that you have to take these. I know you have to take the defense first, but these two, I don't know if there's a set order that you have to do them in. Either way, one attack apiece with Bane. So they automatically ignore regeneration, and the enemy has to reroll 6s. So we got the Sergeant, Banner, Musician options, and we have the option to replace all of the claws with AP1 hand weapons, a halberd for rending, or we can give them all slings for a ranged attack, and one attack apiece in close combat. So an option to do is, the Ghoul Champion, because Ghoul Champion starts with regeneration. If not every model has them, they lose it. So if you're going to take somebody with them, it would be the Ghoul Champion. Cursed Undead boost is a no-brainer here. And then because of that, we would definitely want to combine the unit. We attach that there. And then here we go. 195 points for 11 models that have a 6/5/5 save. They all ignore regeneration, and they all make you reroll your 6s. So ghouls are little tanky buggers that they don't do a whole lot of damage. They don't have a lot of output, but against lighter targets or against stuff with regeneration, it's going to be a pain in the butt. I mean, you could do a ranged attack with them to go for slings, and then slings on him, but I mean, you're still tanky, but you lose the Bane. 12-inch range on a range attack isn't great. You're going to get shot at, or you're going to get charged as soon as you do it. There's better ranged options as we go along. Next, we have the Drained Archers. 5 of them for 65 points. They're a 5/5 with Cursed Undead, 1 attack and close combat weapon, and 24-inch range, 1 shot. So these are your basic shooting guys. They're a 5/5. They're going to hit 1/3 of the time. 130 for 10 shots. I mean, nothing spectacular, but again, Age of Fantasy, you're always going to have some of these like chaff base units, and if you want to have a chaff unit be a shooting unit, this is the way to go. We have a couple units that we can do that, like the Drained Leader with the Piercing Hunting Aura. So give them AP1 of their shooting at least. You can take a bow. You're looking at 215, 22 shots, AP1, hitting on a 5. Not terrible, but again, I mean, if this is more for a cheap chaff unit that you can get some ranged attacks out of. Let's check out the next unit. Next, we have the Skeleton Watch. Now, this is a better shooting unit. 5 of them for 120 points. They're not cheap. They're a 4/4. They have Cursed Undead. They have Cursed Crossbows. 1 shot at 24 with Rending and Sever. And then the options are the Sergeant, Banner, Musician. If I was going to run the ranged Piercing Aura, it would be with this squad. because at this point, it'll be one shot at 24 with rending to remove regeneration. On a 4, it's AP 4. It starts off at AP 1, and then with Sever, if they're tougher, it becomes AP 2. A ranged shot hitting on a 4 with AP 2 is pretty good. And you're 315 for this squad, so it's not cheap, but that's because it's pretty good. Next, we have Zombie Wolves. 75 points for 5 of them, 5/5, Cursed Undead, Fast, Furious, and Scout with 2 attacks and no upgrades. This is your fast chaff unit. These, you can combine them to be a meat missile, something you throw at the enemy on turn 1 with the Fast and the Scout. Throw it out there, be like, take 20 hits, or take 20 attacks. Depending on what the dice do, you might get a lot of them through. And it's pretty good for like a turn 1 zap into the enemy army. If they have something that they left kind of unprotected. So you have Scout on those, so you get to see what the enemy places before you put your zombie wolves out. Another way you could use them is you could just take 5 of them, and you could use these as like a kind of like an infiltrating force with Fast, Furious, and Scout. You can get to the enemy backlines pretty quickly, and you're only 75 points. You're only 5 wolves. You're kind of small. You might be able to hide in terrain and stuff to get around. And this is going to be, you know, if you take a small squad like this, use them to harass like enemy artillery pieces and stuff in the backfield, like enemy archers, things that don't want to be in close combat. Next unit, we have Skeleton Knights, 105 points for 5 of them. They're a 4/4, Cursed Undead, Fast, Impact 1. Now, Impact, we haven't talked about it before. If you charge into the enemy and you are not fatigued, you get as many attacks as that says there. So 5 Skeleton Knights with Impact 1, you'd be rolling 5 dice. You hit on a 2, and it counts as like an AP 0 hit. So most cavalry have this. It's pretty good. It's pretty good to get you some extra, you know, hits and some damage in before you actually attack. And with these, you have Cursed Lances. So 1 attack with Sever and Thrust. Thrust means you're going to be hitting on a 3 when you charge. It's going to be AP 1, and if it's real tough or real defensive like, you're going to be AP plus 2, or AP 2 overall with your lances. And then you have Sergeant Banner Musician. So as far as overall, in Age of Fantasy, a 4/4 knight is pretty good. So these would you're starting to see sledgehammer units here. So I'll do a Skeleton Champion, put that into the unit. This would be a case to give it shred in melee to get some extra damage through if the enemy rolls 1s. Give him a skeletal steed and a lance. Here we go, 295 points. 13 attacks that are AP 1, maybe AP 2, depending on the toughness of the enemy. And 11 impacts, a hit on a 2 with shred. We're starting to see some pretty good damage potential in these units. This is going kind of fast because with not many upgrades, it's kind of like a this is what the unit does. Next, Vampire Knights. Now these are true sledgehammers. 130 points for 5 of them. They're a 3/3 with Cursed Undead, Fast, Furious, and Impact 1. Heavy hand weapons for 1 attack AP 1. I would always put on the lances, meaning now they're going to be hitting on a 2 when they charge, and it's going to be AP 2. Then we have the regular command upgrades. You're going to want to put a Vampire Master with these. You're going to want to invest in this squad. So you can either do a Steed to give him just fast impact 1 with the rest of the squad, or you could do a Winged Steed if you want to get a little bit more like defense, a little bit more toughness of that vampire. But, you know, let's just go with a regular Steed here. And then a Heavy Lance. And then with these, I would do the Cursed Undead buff, giving them a 3+ and then a 5+. So again, give them the regeneration that you can't get rid of. Because this unit comes out to 420 points for 11 models. It's going to be doing a lot of damage as long as you can keep them alive. And with the Cursed Undead boost, you're going to be able to keep them alive as long as possible. You want to keep these guys alive. Keep them charging. Next, we have Ghoul Beast Riders. Now, they are 145 for 3 of them. 4/6, Cursed Undead Flying, Impact 2, Regeneration, and Toughness 3. They come with lances. So they'll be hitting on a 3 when they charge at AP 1. And then command upgrades, that's all the upgrades you can do for these guys. So they are a 6/6/5. Again, really tough. We got to do a gold champion to keep the regeneration going on those. We do a winged beast and then a lance. So here we got 4 models. And yeah, cursed undead boost 265. 265 for a unit that comes out at toughness 16 with a 655 save. It's not going to be doing much damage because it's 6 attacks total, but they're a brick. They're going to be hard to shift. If you want to get in there and you want to stick, this definitely one of the squads that'll do it. Flying gives them a whole lot of utility. Like, say, if you have your front line smashes into the enemy front line, which is what happens a lot, especially when I'm playing. These can just go in with flyer and go over top the line and charge into either the rear of the front rank, that's actually doing the fighting, or into the second line, which is like the shooters, the artillery, or stuff back there that's waiting to get into position. You can jump on it first. Interesting. And then just being a brick in the back. Yeah, that's real interesting. The next unit is Bat Swarm. So standard swarm, 90 points for 3 of them. 5/6, cursed undead flying furious and toughness 3 with 3 attacks, and the unit has no upgrades. So yeah, this is standard swarm. With the flying, you can keep it small, take it 3 swarms, and then hide it in areas to come out to contest objectives at the end, because no one wants to put their attacks into a swarm unless they're like the last tactical option they have. Or you can you double it for 180 points to use as like a ablative wounds for a hero, like say a Vampire Master. They would go good with a winged terror, and then whatever else you want to put on them. This one, caster 3 at this point, having a flying caster that with 18 ablative wounds before you get after its toughness. Now, without undead, you are susceptible to morale once you lose 4 of the bat swarms. But even at that point, that's 12 wounds you got to chew through before you even start thinking about a morale test on the Vampire Master. So, yeah. Either tiny little hidden, special attack bats, or ablative wounds. Next, we got giant bats, which is, again, it's kind of the same thing, except these have ambush. They're a little bit better in both aspects. They have quality 4, defense 5, and it shows they are just over double the amount of points for 1 point better quality, 1 point better defense, and ambush. They get furious as well. Oh, the bat swarms got furious too. I completely skipped over that in my head. Okay, yeah, furious is interesting on those. But yeah, great bats. Again, same sort of thing. With ambush, you can use them to jump on enemy artillery. They might pull it off. The toughest 3 artillery that we're starting to see in the game now that's hard to shoot. Having giant bats jumping back there with ambush to take them out could be interesting. Or again, you could just do, 18 ablative wounds with a combined squad in case you got something that ambushes, which none of your characters have ambush natively, so meh. Well, the only one that does is a gold champion if you give them wings. And even then, the gold champion, well, they already have shred on the great bats, so this is useless. Cursed undead, you'll be real tanky. It's a 425 option at this point. 425 points. Yeah, I think we're barking up the wrong tree with those. Just use those as little assault teams. Next, we have the Stitched Butchers. 140 points for 3 of them. They are a 4/4 with Cursed Undead, Fearless, Ravage. We haven't talked about Ravage yet. Kind of like Impact, except this is whenever it attacks in melee. On a 6, the enemy just takes a wound. It goes right through their armor. So, don't expect it much, but it's a nice little utility when it does happen. They're slow and toughness 3 attacks apiece at AP 1. You can replace all the slicing blades with 4 attacks with rending for 15 points. And you can give them a Corpse Master, which gives them the Cursed Undead boost buff themselves. So this looks like a brick in the making. Go for the Corpse Master to give them the Cursed Undead boost buff. I would switch out for 4 attacks with the rending, just for the option to the occasional ability to spike it for AP4. Combine it, 330 points for a 4/5 with a Cursed Undead boost with Fearless. It is slow, so it's just a slow-moving brick moving up the board that hopefully will carve stuff up with its rending. And then again, a Drained Leader with these to give them reanimation aura to pretty much stitch them back together as they fall apart. 390 points, 21 wounds. They would all have a 5 up on their Cursed Undead plus reanimation afterwards. Yeah, this really turns into a brick. The question is, if you were doing a zombie-themed army, would you use your Drained Leaders in the Stitched Butchers, or would you use them in your zombies? It's interesting either way. Maybe I'll have to make up a whole bunch of Stitched Butchers for my next zombie army. Next we have Ghoul Horrors. 145 points for a 4 or 5. Cursed Undead, Regeneration, Strider, Toughness 3. 3 attacks apiece with Bane. No other options. So again, I'm not even going to put it on here, but you can see, you just put a Ghoul Champion on there with the Regeneration and the Cursed Undead buff for a 5/5/5 save. And they all ignore regeneration. The enemy must reroll defense of 6. Again, just more bricks like the Sliced Butchers, except it's not quite as exciting because they have Bane instead of the Rending, so you're never going to get AP4 with it. Less attacks. The Stitched Butchers with the Carving Tools and the Boost buff. Let's see here. We combine that, and then we combine this, and then the Ghoul Horrors are a little bit more expensive on the hero. 330 versus 290. Oh, let's see what it is. So here we got 390 again for the Drained Leader and Butchers, and then 355 for the Ghoul Champion and the Ghoul Horrors. 35 points. It's good either way. These guys come back after they lose the wound. These guys hopefully don't take the wound with the regeneration. I would still take the Stitched Butchers just because that rending makes them more exciting than the Bane does. Next, we have another group of horrors. We got Bat Horrors, 230 points. They are 3 of them in the squad. There are 3/4, so we're getting pretty advanced here with quality 3. Ambush, Cursed Undead, Flying Furious, and Toughness 3. And these have 3 attacks apiece with Shred. And no upgrades for the unit. So again, with it's another brick of 3. So if you combine it, it's another 18 wounds. It's a 4/6 at this point. You could turn that into a 4/5 with a buff, but it's like you gain the ability to hit more, but with Shred, you don't ignore regeneration. And I feel out of all 3 of them, Shred has the least amount of damage output because you're hoping your enemy rolls a 1 for extra wounds. These guys do ambush and they fly and they are furious. So let's look at all your thick boys here. You got the Bat Horrors, they can fly. And they're furious. You got the Ghouls that have regeneration and they ignore regen. And the enemies reroll 6s. And you got the Stitched Butchers who could become a 5/5 with a Cursed Undead boost. And they can take Carving Tools, but they're slow. So these are your 3 like tough boy units. I don't know. Ghoul Horrors would be the cheapest, and they would be the one that stick around the longest because it ended up being a 5/5/5. The 4/6 on these, maybe a 4/5. The Undead boost buff, and these being a 4/5 with Ravage. This one. The Bat Horrors are gone. I'm not excited about Bat Horrors. It's a toss up between these 2, and yeah, the Stitched Butchers still come out on top. Even though they're slow, they'll get there eventually. Oh wait, no, we got one more big guy squad, the Werewolves. 200 points for 3 of them. There are 3/4, Cursed Undead, Scout, Strider, Toughness 3. Okay, these are in the running. 3 attacks apiece, AP1 with Rending. Ooh, this kind of has the best of both. So let's put a Werewolf Champion with those. So Werewolf Champion with that, so we can keep the Scout and the Strider. Cursed Undead boost, definitely. I would give him the heavy Rending Claws just to synergize with the rest of them. 355. Or let's go ahead and do it. 555 points. There are 4/5s. Scout and Strider. They're going to get into combat hopefully on turn 1 with Scout. And they are going to rip apart whatever they go after. 24 attacks at AP1 with rending in Age of Fantasy will just myrtleize stuff. Okay, these win. These win over top of the Stitched Butchers. Yeah. Yep. If you just want straight damage, Werewolf Champion and Werewolves. Alright, so that's it for the units. Let's start looking at our light vehicles and small monsters. And we start off with the Bat Beast, 160 points, a 3/3 ambush, cursed undead, fear 1, furious, toughness 6, 6 attacks with shred, and it doesn't come with flying? Okay, let's give it flying. Without flying, it can either okay, it can ambush without the fly. Okay, interesting. I would actually take the wings off of it. It doesn't need flying. It's got ambush. 160 points. Well, okay. Wings are good to have, but if I was looking to scrape some points somewhere, I wouldn't need flying on this. This is going to be going for backfield stuff. Defense 3 ambush. It's got enough attacks to maybe be able to take out some artillery or like a small marksman squad or rifleman squad. It's not going to be real good in like a frontline push, but 160, 175, yeah, it's definitely doable for a small monster. Then we have the Corpse Wagon. Again, one of my favorites. 115, it's a 5/3. Cursed Undead, a Cursed Undead boost buff. Regeneration and toughness 6. 8 attacks with its crew. This thing isn't great in close combat. It only hits on a 5 with 8 attacks. You're not going to hit much with that. And then your options down here, you can give it a casting buff to give a friendly caster within 12 +1 to casting. Resistance to give an additional save on top of stuff for a 2+ if it's a spell or a 6 if it's not. And then we have spawned stitched zombies times 10. Yes, please. So corpse wagons are great with the spawn stitched zombies because you can have 13 activations in a 2,000 point army, and if you take a couple of these, you can have 14, 15, 16 activations. So it really, really hits home the swarming of zombies. Cursed Undead boost, that's something that you can give to the stitched zombie squad, because your drained leader should be doing reanimation aura with the zombies instead of the Cursed Undead boost. So what you are doing now is you have a 6/5 to save, and then you have a 5 to get back up if the Corpse Wagon is giving these guys the Cursed Undead boost buff, and if the Corpse Wagon gets in trouble, it can drop off 10 stitched zombies and then give them the Cursed Undead boost immediately. Casting buff and resistance, I wouldn't worry about those at all. Corpse Pile, the way to go. warbossfitz approved. Okay, next we have the Funeral Coach, 120 points, quality 4, defense 3, cursed undead, fast impact 4, morale debuff, and toughness 6, 2 attacks AP1 and 2 attacks AP nothing. No upgrades on this thing. This is a combat chariot. Only 4 attacks on it, but it does have impact 4, so a potential of 4 attacks going through with a morale debuff, giving somebody with an 18 -1 to morale test. That's going to be whoever it is you are charging into. Hopefully, you get in there, you do some damage with a defense 3. You're going to be, tankier than whatever you charge. Go for lighter targets. And then with morale debuff, hopefully you can make them run off the board. So this thing can actually start clearing out enemy units relatively quickly. For 120 points, yeah, absolutely, take one. Throw it in there, smash it into the enemy. Then we have a Maiden Chariot, 140 points, quality 4, defense 3, cursed undead, fast impact 4, mind control, stock, and toughness 6. 2 attacks AP nothing, 2 attacks with Bane, no upgrades. So again, this one is kind of interesting. You're taking it, it's got the same kind of combat potential, but it doesn't have the morale debuff. Instead, it has mind control. This is good to like move enemies off of stuff, or bring it closer to you, or move one unit out of the way of another. Like, say you really want to charge those wood elf, like, indirect shooting archers that are standing behind a unit of spears. You can be like, mind control on the spears. You guys move that way. Let me go talk to your archers. So that's interesting. It depends on the enemy failing a morale test, so it might not be great. You can get it off pretty easily on like the base stock stuff with like quality 5. But anything other than that, it's kind of iffy. I wouldn't really call it a gimmick. It is a viable strategy. But for some armies, it's just not going to work. So if you like running vampires and you got a whole bunch of mind control going on other places, you does this stack? I mean, not stack. You can keep, yeah, you can keep doing it. So potentially, let's say you got a couple of vampires in your army. Potentially, you can mind control something like 2 feet away from where you started, like 3 units of vampire lords, vampire masters, a couple mating chariots, and then do the vampire knights get it? No, it's not an option for them. So, I mean, you could do potentially with 3 vampire masters, 3 maiden chariots, moving them 6 inches at a time. You can move an enemy 3 feet away from where it started. I might make something like an achievement list that would definitely be on it. Mind control something 3 feet from where it started. I mean, again, we're in gimmicky territory, but it's something that'd be like a personal checklist that I might want to try one day. Last of our light vehicles, we have the Deathly Chariot, 145 points. It's a 4/3, Cursed Undead, Fast, Fear 2, Impact 4, Toughness 6, 2 attacks, AP 4, and 2 attacks, AP nothing. This is a more combat cart than we saw with the Funeral Coach. No debuffs to morale, but with Fear of 2, some AP 4 attacks. This thing is designed to win combat just on its own. Yeah, that's really all there is to say about it. Just crash it into stuff. That's what chariots are designed to do. Next, we're into vehicles and monsters, and mostly monsters. We have the Batch Dragon, quality 3, defense 3, Cursed Undead, Fear 2, Flying Furious, Toughness 12, 8 attacks with Shred, and 4 attacks AP 1. If you're going to take a Bat Dragon, just take a Ghoul Champion on a Bat Dragon, because this way you end up getting Strider. Well, I mean, you have flying, but in this way you end up getting regeneration, and then you can put more stuff on it, like the Cursed Undead boost, to give you a 3/5/5. If you're going to take a Bat Dragon, just do it with a Ghoul Champion, because it's just going to stick around longer. Unless you're hurting for points, then maybe a Bat Dragon's worth it. But if you're hurting for points, I'd probably do the next one. Zombie Dragon, 290 points for a 4/3. Breath attack, Cursed Undead, Fear 2, Flying, Regeneration, Toughness 12, 6 attacks at AP 1, and 4 attacks at AP 1 for a total of 10 attacks at AP 1. And you could do a Mind Control Vampire Lord Rider. Ooh. So potentially, that's another 18 inches. You can move something 4.5 feet. No, that's dumb. That's dumb. Maybe if you want to do it on this, I wouldn't worry about that. The reason I like this over the Bat Dragon is entirely because of the breath attack. It gives you the option to attack 2 units in one turn. And when you start getting into vehicles and monsters and stuff, being able to affect multiple things in a single turn is excellent. 2 up, blast 3 with AP 1, on top of its 10 attacks, AP 1. Yeah, I'd rather do this than 320 for 4/1 and 8 with Shred. Odds are, whenever you get into combat with the Zombie Dragon, because it comes with regeneration stock, whenever you get into combat with the Zombie Dragon, it's going to win combat just on that Fear 2 alone. Defense 3 with Cursed Undead and regeneration, it's not going to take much of a clap back unless you're engaging something that is a beat stick. Yeah, Zombie Dragon all day. Then lastly, we're into the Titans, and the Butcher Titan is only 495 points. It's a 3/2, Cursed Undead, Fear 3, Fearless, Slow, and Toughness 18. So if you want to have a zombie army, zombie list, this thing will fit in there. Sub 500 points for a Titan, Toughness 18, Defense 2, Toughness 18. He ain't going nowhere. It's whatever you want to call it. It's probably multiple. They are not going anywhere. 6 AP2, 12 AP1 with Rending, so it does ignore regeneration. Hits on a 3 with the potential to spike some AP4s. This is, as far as Age of Fantasy goes, this is an excellent Titan. They're slow, but definitely turn one, pick an objective to go run to. And when you get there, that will be yours. because with Fear 3, you're going to be pushing stuff off with a 2 and an 18 for toughness, or a 2 defense and 18 for toughness. You're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, it's a fun Titan. So, oh god, I'm starting to lose my voice. So let's see what I built for the army I'm going to make for him. So here is the list that I've put together for this week. Now, we have done vampires, we have done zombies, and then we did bats. So, logical progression, we're doing all skeletons. It's an all-skeleton party here. Starting off with the skeleton champion on an abyssal beast with the ancient count giving it scout. So this thing is going to be a meat missile running forward, doing its attacking on turn 1. Next, we have Skeleton Champion, also with the Scout Aura, and 20 Skeleton Guard with the Cursed Maces, with the Champion carrying a Great Sword. So AP2 on the charge, potentially AP3 if they're really defense. In case the enemy puts a brick on their front line, this is going to charge into there and hopefully take care of that. Next, we have 20 Skeleton Guard with just Cursed Swords. They have a banner. Oh, yeah, both the Skeleton Guards have a banner, so they're going to be morale tests on a 3. The Cursed Swords, this is just kind of like a filler unit. Johnny on the spot where you need to be to go throw some attacks. Then we have 2 squads of 10 Skeleton Watch with the Cursed Crossbows. You know, rending and sever 24 inches. You can't really go wrong there. A little bit pricey, like I said before, but they're a pretty decent shooting squad. Then we have a Skeleton Champion. He is on a mount. He is on a skeletal steed. He has a lance with shred and melee, along with 10 knights, giving these guys shred. Again, kind of like another beat stick here. And then we have a funeral coach with that morality buff. Hopefully this is going to be breaking units. And then we have 2 deathly chariots with fear of 2 with the AP4 attacks. Again, hopefully breaking units. So we end up with a all skeleton party, except for the funeral coach. It's supposed to be a vampire, but I put a skeleton on it. You know, I don't want to break the theme. It's a skeleton guarding the casket of his vampire lord, who is Lord not appearing in this battle. So, 2,000 points. I am not entirely sure who we're fighting yet this week. We might D6 it just to see what's out there. Or I'll just let Uncle C pick. It's probably going to be Beastmen or Gators, because those are his favorites. So we'll see what happens. So that is it for the Vampiric Undead. On Monday, you're going to see me doing a little bit of painting on them, and then on Thursday, we're going to be having our live stream game. And again, I apologize, my voice is starting to go, because tonight's the night we did the live stream earlier, and I've been doing a lot of yelling. But thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully we'll see what these Vampiric Undead do on the board. And if you liked what you saw, consider becoming a channel member. Members get access to videos early. Whenever I'm done with the editing, they get access immediately. Everybody else gets it on a schedule. And hopefully when I get back into the swing of things, the editing and stuff will be done faster, because this will be like the day before it comes out is when members get access to it. I'm going to get this more streamlined. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm kind of rusty. Also, thank you to Printed Starships for being the channel sponsor. Remember, if you want anything to do with Starships or Warfleets or FTL or anything like that, if you use code warbossfitz, you get 15% off. So that'll do it for me tonight. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you guys are having fun playing OPR wherever you are. We'll see you in a couple days on the table. Bye-bye.